SAP Career Journey, Part 2. Hi everyone, my name is Milos, SAP Logistics Solution Architect for CoreTrust, and today we're going to continue our video series about the SAP Career Journey. So how do you progress in your SAP career? Yesterday we talked about what happens when someone is really a fresher, so a fresh graduate or really zero SAP experience or none, and how do they start off, what they should be focusing on. Today we talk about that same person after the first year, so they're still somehow learning, they're growing, but after the first year we expect they had some SAP exposure, they know how to navigate the system, they probably saw one or two, maybe three modules, depending how much they worked and how quickly they jumped wherever was needed, because they were serving, right? They were serving the rest of the team, they were serving the customer, they were doing whatever it takes, whatever they could do to be useful, to be helpful, and that's how they got the experience to learn in their first year. So this same person now, roughly 1 year on the journey, has some SAP experience. So what should they focus on at that point in time? How do they progress? How do they actually become a real consultant? So someone who can be valuable, give useful advice. Well, after the first year, there's few things to focus on. I'm gonna mention three right now. Number one is problem solving. So you don't want to be forever a person who's just doing documentation or helping out on the side. You want to be someone who, when a problem presents itself, is able to understand what's the problem, understand the context, check what might be wrong, whether that's wrong master data or the user is not performing the right steps, or maybe there's a custom code that wasn't coded correctly. So be able to understand, analyze the problem, and be able to propose a solution. So problem solving is a skill. You don't usually have courses or trainings on problem solving. Actually, I'm thinking of creating one because I find it so useful and not really trained. There's not much training material on how to do this, specifically in the SAP world. You need to become that person who people go to because there's a problem and you're able to find a solution and fix it, okay? It's quite a challenge, but it's possible in this period. So after the first year, on the second, third year, to really become good at problem solving. So whatever problem comes up, you should get excited, not scared. So get excited, because that's your opportunity to shine, that's your opportunity to grow, that's your opportunity to make yourself useful and be valuable for the team and for the customer, being able to solve problems. So you want to work on your problem solving ability within SAP. The other thing you want to work on is your communication skills. Communication skills, so after the first year in work, usually you kind of know how to write an email, you kind of know how to use either Teams or Zoom or any other instant messaging tool. So you kind of know how to communicate, but the reality, what I've seen, is that people often are not expert communicator. Their emails are too long, they miss some pieces, they don't involve always the right people. Or just an example, typically, if you ask someone to do something or to do an activity, you never ask 2 or 3 people to do it. So if John and Michael could do a job, you never ask, hey John, Michael, please do a job, and you send an email to both. You must address it to a single person. You must make the person personally responsible for actually doing it or not doing it. So you want to address, for example, John, hey John, can you help me out? And if John is not the right person, they should immediately say, hey, I'm not the right guy, Michael can do this, okay? And then you go back to Michael. So just being able to effectively communicate and not waste time on a project is extremely valuable, and that's something you need to learn to become a valuable team member, to be called an SAP consultant, in my humble opinion. The third thing I want to share is a vertical module. So yesterday I said, when you're starting out, so zero experience, it doesn't really matter which module you're on, as long as you're in your area of interest. So it could be supply chain or finance. But after 1 year, if you're able to focus on a specific module and become expert in one module, that can give you the edge in progressing in your career, because you will be the go-to person for that thing. So for example, you can acquire very vertical knowledge in MM. So you're the MM guy, you're the MM girl. You're the person who people go to get some help, guidance, solve problems in that specific area. I came to be the EWM guy, right? So I focused on that module. I was able, after the first year, and it happened exactly as I said yesterday. In the beginning, I actually was put on a TM project, but then I gained more and more EWM experience and became the EWM guy. So you need to be flexible at the very beginning, but if you're able to land a specific module and be vertical from the second year onwards, then it makes a lot of sense. So think about it, talk with your manager. If you have the skills, then they will definitely try help you be vertical in one of the modules. Okay, those are the top 3. I'll give you a bonus, and I know I'm running long, so to keep it short. If you're able to have an on-site visit, so to actually see a customer site, to see the customer, to see how the business runs, and to learn about the processes, so not just SAP, but the business processes, then you're really making a big step forward, because if you will be moving into a solution architect position in future, or generally if you're going to be customer facing, knowing what the real business looks like for real, not on a call, not on a PowerPoint, but for real, physically, and being able to experience that and understand what's really a business process and how people work is going to give you the ultimate edge in any SAP project, SAP implementation. All right, we'll talk more about that in tomorrow's video, and now I'm definitely 6 minutes over, so I'm going to wrap it up. Hope you found it useful. If you did, comment, share some feedback so everybody knows. And if you have some questions, of course, let me know in this phase. But otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow, where we will talk about what happens now that you're moving into a consultant role. What are the challenges? What are the opportunities? And what you should be focusing on. Looking forward to see you tomorrow. Have a great day and see you soon. Bye.